You're listening to Affected by Altitude, a Colorado Rockies podcast for and by Rockies fans on Rocky Mountain Rooftop. Thank you for joining us as we discuss all things baseball and Colorado Rockies.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Affected by Altitude here with Rocky Mountain Rooftop. I'm your host, Skyler Timmons, and once again joined by a very special guest today. Excited to have him here from the Fresno Grizzlies. Is the Colorado Rockies' second-round pick in the 2024 draft. It's Jared Thomas. Jared, thank you so much for joining us. Pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. Pleasure.
Yeah, I got to ask, how's been just the adjustment back into professional ball now? You've had your first week in professional ball. How's it been?
Man, it's been really fast. It feels like the time between getting drafted and then going out to Arizona for mini camp and then playing the 2 ACL games and coming all the way out here, man. It's felt like a very quick 2 weeks or whatever it is.
Yeah, I bet. A whirlwind, I'm sure.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
And so first I want to ask, you've had that first week. Just how has it been playing that jump from college ball into pro ball now in these first set of games? How's it been?
Man, it's been really exciting. I think it's a completely different aspect, really. This is a lot different setting than maybe the college level. I think this is a lot more professional and not so. I don't want to say individualized, but it's a lot different in the aspect of this feels like grown men playing baseball. I guess like this feels more like a I guess a job than when we were in college and you were having to worry about school and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're playing every day instead of the weekend series.
Right. So you really got to figure out how to, I guess, pace yourself, keep the body healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you get your first chance to play at home in Fresno this coming week. And what's it been like just with the team in general, meeting your new teammates and being around the guys? How's that been adjusting to that and just getting to know the guys you're playing with?
Man, it's been really fun. That's one thing I was really nervous about coming into this whole, atmosphere because, you get drafted and we go down to the complex and you got your group of guys that you were drafted with. And then, you go off to Fresno. Some of your guys go off to Spokane. So you're kind of on your own again. So you got to go through the whole process of introducing yourself, creating a new friendship with a new group. But the guys over here in Fresno are awesome. So it didn't take me very long to get acquainted, and now we're all hanging out. Like I said, I just moved in with one of the guys over here, so we're having a good time.
Yeah, well, that's good. Who'd you move in with?
I'm with Stuart Fresno.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I think we're pretty biased as Rockies fans and covering them, but Fresno's since they've joined the organization as the single A affiliate, it's just a great operation, and the ballpark you'll get to go play in it. It's awesome.
It was dark last night whenever we got in, but that place looked amazing. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a great atmosphere, great fan base, great organization over there. Parker T. Bear's a great mascot, so I think you'll have a lot of fun there.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to it, man.
So I want to take it back. Well, first we got to ask, with home series, that means walk-up songs.
Okay.
And I heard the story, and Stephen Rice told me to make sure I ask about this. But tell me about that transition to Snake Farm and whatnot for your walk-up song in college. And is that going to be your walk-up song here in Fresno?
Yeah. So, freshman year was freshman year of college was a crazy one for me. And at the time, I think I was walking up to Eminem or something like that. So one day in BP, we had the same playlist that one of our coaches would play every single time we were hitting on the field. And Snake Farm by Ray Wally Hubbard just happened to be on that playlist. And one day, I guess it just got stuck in my head, and I was walking around the facility, singing it, whatever. I mean, I was going everywhere with this song in my head. So our director of ops, Carly Todd at the time, heard me singing it and was like, "Hey, that's your new walk-up song." And I was like, I don't know about that one, because I'm more like a kind of want to get fired up before an at bat type deal. And that just wasn't going to do it for me. So she said it, and I was like, no, there's no way. And at the time, I was hitting like 120, 150, something like that. And sure enough, next home game, we debut that song. I go like 3 for 4 with a home run, a double, and it stayed. I wasn't changing it. So it stayed the rest of my freshman year, and I didn't even attempt to change it my sophomore year.
Yeah, you can't be messing with that, Jared.
No.
Superstitions run deep.
Yeah, I guess I'm a pretty superstitious guy.
No, that's awesome. And there's just something about a good walk-up song that just gets you going.
That's right.
And we know the Rockies have had a history of just guys with some iconic songs. Charlie Blackmon with "Your Love," and tons of guys like that. I think for a while Troy Tulowitzki was using Miley Cyrus and "Party in the USA" for a while and stuff.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to call Tulo out on that one.
And yeah, that's kind of what I want to transition to in college, of that experience of working with Tulo, and just how cool of a connection that is, that you've now been both drafted by the same team and now you're starting your journey. But he was helping you out a lot at college. And what was it like working with Tulo, and how he kind of helped you prepare for where you're at now?
Yeah, I think Tulo has been one of the best thing that's happened to me baseball wise. Probably that was the best thing that could have happened in my career, is running into him and hearing a lot, learning a lot from him. Every aspect of the game, whether it was mental, which is something we talked about quite a bit, and offensively was a thing I was blessed enough to work with him this past summer before I got out here. But man, being able to work with a guy who has that resume is pretty special. He was a guy that growing up, I mean, he was one of the best that was playing at the time, especially for the Rockies. It was super cool the first time to like meet him and kind of, just kind of pick his brain. Like it was really special, man. Like he's got a pretty good resume. So anything that guy says, I take it to heart for sure.
Yeah. And I know that's, looking at things when you got drafted, that's kind of what you had worked on with him, especially coming into this, this past season, was working on just improving your overall approach and maybe adding more power into an aspect. What were those conversations like, and just working on that aspect of the game?
Yeah, it was really more of like a problem solving, I guess. Like, after my freshman year, we took a look at what we wanted to do coming into my sophomore year, and one thing that we lacked I lacked a little bit of was the power part, and it wasn't just in the batter's box; it was just from a physical standpoint as well. So after my freshman year, I stayed back over the summer, stayed in Austin, put on 15, 20 pounds to try and get myself ready for this coming up season, and ended up doing that. We roll into the fall of my sophomore year, and we're trying to make swing changes. Like we're trying to figure out what's really going to be their best for me. So at the time, I think I had this humongous leg kick, felt really good, and then Tulo was like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Dude, it feels good." He was like, "Well, do you want to hit homers or get hits?" And I was like, "Well, I want to get hits." He's like, "All right, well, let's meet in the middle." So we kind of cut down the leg kick. We switched to a simpler approach, and really it was just based from count to count. So like if I was in a leverage count, we'd get to swing off a little bit more than if we were in a 1-1, 2-2 count. You know what I'm saying? So it was really just approach based. That's all it really was. Mechanically, we didn't dive too deep in there, but it was really just mentally and approach wise. That's what we were working on all season. It was awesome.
Yeah, and it really paid off. A fantastic year. This past season,
I appreciate that.
We're with the Longhorns and everything, and I think that's the cool aspect. And like you said, a great mentor to have in Tulowitzki, who a phenomenal hitter,
Man,
power hitter too.
yeah.
225 career homers, could have been more if not for those pesky injuries. Just a very special guy. So that's an awesome opportunity you're able to have. But some that I like in that, and this is something Thomas Harding wrote in MLB.com after you got drafted and talking to you. It was that line that he puts in that was more or less you chose to become a better hitter, overall hitter, more than where you cared about draft rankings and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Because a lot of scouts say, no, you're got the best overall tools for a hitter, but maybe this past season, because of more strikeouts, maybe you fell a little bit, but that
Right.
didn't matter to you.
No. You know, I mean, truthfully, like I really wouldn't have it any other way. I think everything happens for a reason, and you know, last year everything that happened was all a part of a bigger plan. So if let's say I hit even better than I did last year, then really I wouldn't have any idea what I could possibly do to make me be in the best possible position I could be right here in this moment with Tulo. Like, you know, I really had something to work on after the season was over to get me ready for pro ball. And I feel like if anything would have gone different, if I would have had a better year or a worse year, I think I really would have been behind. So,
Yeah, I think that's always the bane in baseball is if you become complacent, and so there's always something to continue to work on, improve
yeah,
on.
exactly.
It's always good. And so you're carrying on a long tradition of Longhorns that have been getting drafted. I think it's been the consecutive now after you got drafted 100 since 1969.
Been a while.
A Longhorn has been drafted every single year, and so you're keeping that tradition alive.
Yes, sir.
And what's cool is several rounds later, one of your teammates gets drafted too by the Rockies, LeBaron Johnson Jr. Give me a little bit of that scouting report on him and what he brings to the club.
All right. Well,
If you were facing him,
which I have plenty of times, and I'll tell you, that guy has some of the best stuff I've seen. Between a fastball that's anywhere from 4 to 6, and he's got a splitter that's for anywhere from 88 to 91. He's got a slider that's 87, 90. Like, he's gross. Okay. But another thing is he's got a great poker face. You have no idea what's going on in that head whenever he's on the mound. That guy is an absolute dog. He gets after it.
Yeah, that's good. And he hasn't made it to Fresno yet. I think they're moving some of their pitchers along a little slower because they work a lot during the year. But that's awesome that a college teammate that you have potentially will show up there with you, or you'll play with him at some point again in the come time. But it's awesome that I think that makes that transition over a little easier.
For
you got
sure.
a buddy. You got a buddy, you know.
Right.
But I want to shift gears here a little bit. So we've talked a bit about hitting and that good stuff, and you've drawn comparisons to Charlie Blackmon as well. And watching the video, and as much as I've watched Charlie, you set up a lot like Chuck in the box. So that's a good thing, Jared. But are you going to grow the beard and mullet like Charlie?
Man, I'll be honest with you. I don't think I have the beard in me yet. Hell, I just turned 21. I don't know if I can grow a good set of facial hair quite yet. And the hair, I'm not sure I can flow it like him yet. I'll be honest. I've gone down that road before. It didn't look very good.
I'm in the same boat with you. I'm 28. My facial hair is awful. It's so patchy. It's terrible. I don't know how Chuck does it.
Yeah.
But hey, Tulo had a mullet too, so you could at least do the rat tail mullet thing.
He did, yeah. I've seen pictures.
But I want to transition into the defensive side of things, because it sounds like the Rockies are going to want to work you more in the outfield. But you spent time at first base there with the Longhorns and growing up did really well there. But it was interesting, like the Rockies, like, yeah, he was wasted at first base. Like, you're so athletic where you can really profile in the outfield.
Right.
But what do you feel like with that versatility, being able to play defensively? What's your approach to the defensive side of things?
Well, I mean, ultimately, it's whatever's going to, like, it's very cliche to say, but whatever's going to help the team win, that's where I'm going to play. Like the only thing I want to do is, well, let's think of a better way to put this. You have to play a position in order to hit.
Yeah.
Right. And being able to play outfield and first is, I guess, very useful in the fact that in college, as a freshman, we didn't really have a guy to play first. I was able to play first. That's how I got in the lineup. Sophomore year, I was really good at first, maybe too good, and that might have held me at first base. But now being able to play outfield if they need it, play first if they need it, and for them to be able to be comfortable enough to like have enough confidence in me to play either position, that goes a long way.
Yeah. And versatility, some of the Rockies value a lot. And I think what's cool too is that ability at your profile where you could play all three defensive outfield positions. And Coors Field, it's got an expansive outfield. And so having guys that can cover that ground or be athletic enough, get moving well, use those long legs of yours to cover some ground is a really useful tool.
Yeah.
So it's cool though that versatility is awesome.
Right.
First base, it's a fun one. They usually stick the tall kid over there, but
exactly.
It's a fun one. There's a long line of good first basemen for the Rockies and outfielders, so you can fit into anywhere you want there, Jared. But it's that. Trying to think of the question I was going to ask, but that defense, I think, if you had to pick, or just which one do you like a little more, or that you're a little more comfortable with?
Personally, I mean, I'd say outfield. Didn't really matter the position, I guess, quite yet. Just having the ability to go out in the outfield and run and kind of showcase the versatility opposed to, being stuck at first base, I guess, like being able to really let my athleticism kind of be free out in the outfield is something I enjoy just quite a bit more than being at first base. But at the same time, first base, you're in the game. It feels like every play feels like you're in the heat of battle with the pitcher. Like, that kind of stuff goes a long way too. So, you got to pick and choose. But personally, I'd say outfield. And I see myself being an outfielder in the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now I got to ask, what's your glove of choice? No, when talking your glove game, what are you picking? What's your glove?
Okay, I'm picking Rawlings. Picking Rawlings. You talking about outfielder first or just in general?
Yeah, well, just in general.
Okay, we'll go Rawlings. Just got a new one, and I got a new web. It's the like the I web, I guess, like the cross T web usually for infielders, but I got it for the outfield. So we're gonna try that. Should be in here shortly, but we'll give that a go.
It's fun. And your go-to color? Do you have a go-to color for a glove?
Oh gosh, go-to color for a glove is probably gonna be like all black, or like kind of like a chocolate brown, like a dark brown. That would be the go-tos.
Yeah, some classics. Classics. The wide variety glove. I think people don't think about as often, but we take them pretty seriously.
Right. Exactly right.
But before I let you go here, Jared, I wanted to ask any special skills or anything outside of baseball that maybe are of interest that you have or skills that you have that maybe would surprise people.
Yeah, well, I can play the guitar. I can play the electric guitar. I can play the acoustic guitar.
Nice.
It's been a while, but I think I can solve a Rubik's Cube in like probably less than a minute.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's really it. That's all the talents I got.
Hey, the Rubik's Cube one, that's a pretty good one there, Jared.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time, trust me.
That's awesome. Hey, are you going to pursue you could become a country artist, I think, or a good musician of some kind. Jose Iglesias became a pop star this season for the Mets. So
yeah, well, let's just hope this let's get this let's make the big leagues and then we'll go from there.
So we can't expect any concerts after a game this season with the Grizzlies.
Oh no, not this season. Let me get my feet under me first.
Okay, well, we'll be watching. We'll be watching. That's awesome. And before we close it out, I want to ask, what the thing I wanted to close out with, what just got you into baseball? Growing up there in Texas,
Yeah,
what got you into baseball? Because we know football's king down in Texas.
that's right.
But what led you to the baseball route?
Yeah, it's pretty funny, man. You know, at the beginning, I played everything but baseball, basketball, flag football, soccer, and we never played baseball just because my dad just didn't think I would like it because I was such like a such an energetic kid. Like he thought baseball was really slow, and I had nobody in my family that had ever played baseball, so we didn't really understand what was going on with it at the time, and so. You know, I joined this team. Family friend was coaching, so my dad let me to join the team or whatever. And I don't know, man. I fell in love with it. Like just this, like going to the cages, and like my dad throwing me BP. Like that's some of the earliest memories I have. Like that's my favorite part of the entire thing. Like I couldn't play a game for 2 weeks, but if you let me hit in the cage every day, I'm gonna do it. Like that's how I operate. That's where I've always found like kind of joy in this game is like going and hitting in the cage or I guess practicing in general. Like that was one of the things I enjoyed most about college. Like, you know, the facilities were open by your fingerprint. So me and my roommates would go up to the facility like 1 o'clock in the morning and just hit. Like we didn't have anything else to do. Like that's just something that I've always enjoyed. And that's really what got me into the game, I guess. Whenever my dad first took me to the cages, I don't know how long we were there for, but like that ride home was awesome. Like that was when I really found out that that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think that like a lot of other sports, it's those little memories right there, like hitting in the cage and stuff. And it's one of those things, you know, when you're done playing baseball, it's one of those you think like, man, I want to go do that again. Like I miss that.
Exactly.
But it's an awesome, and I'm glad that that's the route that you went because now we get you in the Rockies organization, and we're really excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, man. Thank you.
And that home run, your first pro home run last week, awesome. Hopefully, first of many.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We're working on it.
Awesome. Well, best of luck the rest of this season and on your journey now, moving up through the organization in the minors. We'll be excited to watch your progress.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Well, this has been Affected by Altitude. We've been joined by Jared Thomas of the Fresno Grizzlies. I'm Skyler Timmons. Until next time, this has been Rocky Mountain Rooftop. Farewell. This has been Affected by Altitude, a Colorado Rockies podcast with Rocky Mountain Rooftop, a proud affiliate of the Fans First Sports Network. Catch new episodes every Monday on wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Be sure to follow us on YouTube as well for video versions of the show.